Oh, here we are in a beautiful park in Bandra in Mumbai. And have a look at this. This is such an amazing park, and it's actually something that is quite unique to Mumbai. And what I've experienced over the last few days of traveling Mumbai is how the quality of life varies throughout the city. You know, standing here, we've got toilet facilities there, you've got a children's play area, the grass is being watered, and you've got local people cleaning the streets, sweeping the paths, and it is an amazing place to be. Now, Bandra, amazing place. So I mentioned previously, this is where you've got Sachin Tendulkar, famous cricketer, lives here. You've got Bollywood stars that live in this area. It is an amazing place to be. However, throughout Mumbai, there are different changes. You've got different qualities of life. As you go through towards the informal settlements, you have got those concerns there. And what I want to talk about when I'm looking at quality of life is the idea of housing. Housing is really important. And in Mumbai, you have a rent control, a cap on how much rent you can actually spend or pay in an area. Now that's really, really important, because that then means that people don't spend too much rent, even though Mumbai does have some of the highest rent paid in the world. But then also what that means is that local people actually don't want to spend that money on that area. And that's really important, because those landlords not spending money, that can create problems then in this area. And that links me on to sanitation. When you're looking at it, 40% of people in Mumbai live in slums, 20% of people live in shuls, and 10% of people live on the street. That means then 30% of people actually have access to safe drinking water, safe water to clean, and that is a real problem. And that can then create further issues in this area. Another thing to consider is how Mumbai has grown. It's spread so much from that peninsula all the way up towards New Mumbai. And what that's meant is you've got that growth in informal settlements. And the government hasn't controlled this. The government hasn't, provided affordable housing in those areas. And that then ties into this idea of corruption. Corruption is something that happens throughout the world, however, has been seen here in Mumbai, where, as I mentioned in one of my first videos, the old mills, those textile industry, very industrial area, these areas in that inner suburbs of Mumbai near Dharavi were promised to become low, affordable housing for local people. However, this was then actually sold off to developers who then built high-rise, expensive flats, unaffordable for local people, creating real problems and affecting that quality of life for Mumbaikars in these different areas. So that then brings us on to looking at Dharavi, as I just mentioned. Now, Dharavi has got some amazing places, such an incredible place. And when I explored and went on tour there, I couldn't believe just how much is going on in terms of the industry, 10,000 different industries in Dharavi. Dharavi creates $1 billion in revenue every year. That's absolutely exceptional. That's more than the GDP of the Dominican Republic. And that is just such an incredible opportunity for people. And Dharavi is actually sometimes seen in such a negative way. However, it is such an amazing place. Now, there are development plans to redevelop Dharavi, and there's been plans to have 1.1 million homes built in Dharavi. There's also plans to make new sanitation, new sewage works. And Dharavi is in the heart of Mumbai. It's in that inner suburbs. It's got amazing transport links by railway. It's so close to Bandra, where I am now, and there's huge opportunities. Now, one thing that people are worried about, and local people in Dharavi are worried about, is what does that mean for Dharavi? Does that mean that then suddenly developers are going to come in and start doing this work? Will that lead to house prices, rent going up? And that then could force people actually away from Dharavi. And you've got 1.5 up to 1.5 million people living there. Where will these people go if that does happen? However, people have then actually started to consider what to do for them and actually help those local people. And local urban businesses, investors have actually said that we give the property, the land rights to the people of Dharavi, and that then gives them the opportunity to actually talk about what they want to do in that area, which I think is a really great opportunity for those people. Now, moving on from that, a real issue is this idea that 60% of people work in informal jobs. An informal job is a job where it could be someone that is working on the streets and they're selling you bottles of water. Now, for example, they then don't actually have, they won't pay tax, and that they then don't have workers' rights, and they're very much selling stuff just to make money for themselves. 60% of people in Mumbai do this. That then means that 60% of people working here don't pay tax. They don't have workers' rights. And that is a real problem for the government. And that is a real issue. And there's talks of wanting to make changes to Mumbai, have new laws, have new regulations to help those people in Mumbai pay tax. That then means that the government can then get more money and they can then start investing in these different areas throughout Mumbai to help quality of life change for those people. Building on from this is this idea of bureaucracy. Mumbai is an incredibly bureaucratic city. And one of the big things when you're looking at transport, you know, the roads are so congested. Yesterday we went to the cricket. It took us an hour and a half to get from Bandra to the cricket stadium. That should have only taken us half an hour to 40 minutes. Now, traffic congestion, pollution that's created from that is terrible. And there's so much going on, there's so much plans. I've spoken to people in Mumbai and they've spoken about plans to build a new metro link. There's the coastal road where they've got this amazing bridge that goes out over the sea, building this huge infrastructure there to help people in Mumbai get around the city easier. There are big questions. Will this be a success? Will it actually help the people in Mumbai? And when you're looking at the monorail, as I'll talk about in one of my videos, that only helped certain parts of Mumbai and didn't actually help the people of Mumbai that actually needed that infrastructure. So that's a real concern and could really affect the quality of life for people in the city. So, wow, a lot to talk about there, but what an amazing place Mumbai is. There's such differences throughout the city, and you've really got to think about, when you think about quality of life, the different reasons for that. It could be crime rate, that could be education, that could be just pollution, all these things, and it links that idea of corruption, links that idea of wanting to invest in certain areas, and actually you've got to think about all the time, what do the people actually want? Dharavi, what do the people actually want? There are people living there, they want to live in that area. You know, parts of Dharavi are over 100 years old. They're beautiful cobbled streets. You know, as we walked through, unbelievable places. People need to be considered. So amazing things to think about there, and some great geography in action.